So I, hooray, am a finalist for Miss Great Britain, which is the precursor to sort of Miss World. So it finds each country's sort of representation from its national competition. So I'm in the national competition in the UK in February, and the reason I don't come from that sort of background at all, the reason I've decided to sort of add to my profile and try this out for the first time is that for the first year, this year, they're actually opening the competition up to people that are over the age of 27. So historically, and I think this is in business, and I think it's in beauty, and I think it's in entertainment, there's been a shelf life when it comes to women. You know, there's been this perception of like, oh, you know, you're sort of over 30, so you're going to go and get married and have a child, so we're not going to employ you. Or do you know what I mean? There's been a bit of a glass ceiling in that sense. And I think what Miss Great Britain are doing is fantastic. They've opened it up to people over the age of 27. Like, I don't know why anyone couldn't apply anyway that wanted to. So like I said, I don't come from that kind of background at all, but I really want to support what they're doing because I think it's really cool. And it's very scary to think you just, as a woman, you're literally just opening yourself up to be completely judged. So that's nothing could be worse in my mind. It's very scary, but I'm doing it as sort of almost a confidence building exercise, and to show people, I mentor a lot of young women in the UK, to show people that actually, whether it's a career change later in life or whether it's just a new skill that you want to learn, just give it a go. It doesn't matter if you get laughed out of town. Give it a go, and I guarantee you won't get laughed out of town. You know, it'll all end well generally. So we have to try new things.
So how did you get into that? I mean, do you come from? I mean, do you have previous modeling experience? Or?
No, not at all. So basically, how
I instantly, whenever I think of someone that's on a contest like that, I always think that they are, you know, an actor, actress, model, you know, some sort of spokesperson. So
no, definitely not. So actually, I've been in marketing for the last 15 years, and I've loved it. But what I've really found is I've really applied myself to the business that I've worked in, which is great, right? And that's what every employer really sort of wants. But what I've started realizing in the last sort of couple of years is that actually it's beneficial to you and the business if you focus on yourself as well and you build your own profile. And that is everything to do with the work and what you do, and attending conferences and you know, being on podcasts and meeting great people, but also extracurricular stuff as well. It's that human element of your content, right? People really connect with that because they go, oh, this is a real person. Oh, they're out walking the dogs. They're doing, you know, this, that, the other. They're struggling with kids working from home or whatever it may be. And so the reason I actually got into it was because I'm connected to a BBC World reporter or journalist in London who I sort of filter a lot of our original research through. And she was Miss Congo.
Oh, really?
Like in Congo. Wow. And anyway, she moved to the UK and started working for the BBC. She won over thousands of people this amazing internship with BBC Global News, and has worked her way up through the ranks. So I was in connection with her as a journalist, as a reporter, and she was talking to me about her whole story. And so anyway, I just sort of looked it up just out of curiosity, and then I saw that it was like the inaugural year where actually they were in the UK. They were saying, you know what, age isn't a barrier anymore. And as much as it makes me go, ooh, you know, shudder with terror at the thought, I thought, this is something I really want to get behind. And the fact that I stand up there at LinkedIn Ladies every time I host it and go, hi, I'm leading this charge, I felt like, you know what? I feel like I need to do this to sort of prove to people, you know, I'm doing what I say I do outside of work. I'm sort of leading the charge a little.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, I'm really kind of inspired because you're definitely putting yourself out there, and you know, you're making yourself vulnerable. Because I think that when you do something like
There's definitely an element of that.
You know, you said that, you know, you open up yourself for criticism. And of course, there's a lot of positive attributes to this as well, but that's a reality. I mean, anytime we put ourselves out there, there's always going to be people that say X, Y, and Z, but we can't really worry about that, right?
Totally. Yeah. Well, that's part of building your profile, right? Yeah. So, and no matter what you do content-wise, and the more you amplify it, the more response you tend to get, right? So that's the whole aim of the game is we go, right, we want to grow our following. We want to promote amazing content, preferably video content, because that's what's, you know, absolutely ruling the present and the future. But also, we need to be able to manage, as we do that in parallel, we need to be able to manage how we handle responses, both positive and negative. And I think when you see channels where even if I go to a TripAdvisor example, so I step away from even our own content for a second, and I go, let's go to a TripAdvisor example, and we look at someone where they're like a host of a hotel or a guest house, and they've got all these positive reviews, and they've all gone, oh, thanks for the great review, it's been great hosting you, la la la, and then for a negative review, they don't say anything, they just ignore it.
Yeah.
I mean, there needs to be a level of response to our content that we're consistent with, even when we don't want to face it. I think that's really important, because if you provide a really well-worded, friendly, understanding response, I think that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
And we just need to be prepared when we're dabbling in the content world that, this is going to happen. There are going to be bad things that come back. There are going to be people booing me off stage probably, but you just have to deal with that, and go, you know what? I'm at a point in my life where I need to just shake it off.
Yeah.
And of course, there's a certain amount that sort of penetrates where you go, ouch, but that's okay. Goes with the territory.
All right, guys, we are back, and now actually we're using Blue Yeti mics. So you're going to notice that the quality of the sound is a little bit better. So we just kind of boosted that, and it should sound pretty crisp. So Chicago, what's been your experience?
I've loved Chicago. I've never been here before and really liked it.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm from Auckland in New Zealand originally, and it's very similar.
Oh, so that's where you grew up, or?
Yeah, that's where I grew up. It's very similar in terms of just like nice city skyline, beautiful waterfront, lots of green spaces, very vibey. Like it.
Okay.
Really like it. Enjoyed my time. Glad I came here.
So talk to me about the Kiwi culture.
It's very chilled. It's very relaxed.
Okay.
And there are good things and bad things that go with that, I think. In terms of business, a lot of entrepreneurs, not as much as in the States, obviously, because there's such a huge population, but a lot of people there are business owners. They have great ideas and they start businesses.
Why do you think that is? And these are the locals or the immigrants?
No, locals. Well, both really. So even the immigration culture is very inclusive. It's very well set up. It's we sort of go, okay, it's very pro-immigration. We're such a small population. I mean, it's less than 5 million, which is tiny. And then as part of that immigration process, people are very well supported into education, jobs, communities, and things like that. To just makes everybody's lives so much better, right? So, but what I like to think, I mean, I went to university there. What I like to think, and maybe this is the same everywhere, I'm not sure because I haven't studied and gone to university everywhere, is that you're taught, in school you're taught things, you're taught physical things. In university you're taught to think, and I think a lot of people coming out of Kiwi universities, because we are so isolated and so far away from everything, is it's like dream big and give it a go, and it's quite a supportive environment. So you're taught to think and you're taught to have these ideas, and then people just give it a go. And I think New Zealand, the reason why a lot of big enterprise businesses use New Zealand is a bit of a pilot study. So things like Coca-Cola, for example. In many cases, New Zealand are the first place in the world to get to try a lot of things, because they use New Zealand as like a live pilot study. So it was like vanilla Coke back in the day. They were like, oh, we'll just try it there first.
Oh, really?
Yeah, before it's released. So there's loads of things like that where they just we're sort of like the guinea pig population,
That's interesting. And then when did you move to England?
So I lived in the UK a few years. When I left university from New Zealand, I moved out. I went to the Great Barrier Reef, lived on a private island for a couple of years, working for an amazing resort, loads of fun in water sports, diving, in my free time, awesome.
Wow.
Then I moved to the UK. I'm all about the experiences, slowing down on my older age though. Then I moved to the UK because I really wanted to do the London experience, and I highly recommend for anyone that has that itch, just do it. It's an amazing place. And then I ended up working, from London I moved to the south of France and started working on super yachts, and I did that for many years. You
worked on what, I'm sorry?
Super yachts.
Okay.
Private yachts. So I worked for two American people. One was the Walmart family, the Waltons, and the other was someone called David Geffen, who set up Geffen Records and DreamWorks Pictures. So. And then I worked for a vodka Russian guy. And so we got to go to these amazing places all over the world, everywhere from sort of, the Galapagos Islands to actually went to New Zealand, Tahiti,
So
Alaska,
you basically lived on these super yachts for a little while.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
It's a great, it's a great
These are
way
like
to
$50
travel.
million, $100 million yachts.
More, yeah, crazy. So
Wow.
the yachts are like $500 million, and then with everything in the interior made of gold, it's like $1 billion. So yeah.
Okay,
it's
so
insane.
I want to see one of these so I can type David Geffen's yacht. Is that fair?
Yeah, so it used to be Larry Ellison's Oracle, so they used to co-own it, and now David bought it. Rising Sun. Yeah, that one doesn't look very nice from the outside.